Bilingual. What interesting things have you heard native speakers say when they didn't know you spoke their language? My mother grew up in Karachi, but you'd never know it by looking at her. She inherited her father's lighter complexion, and by the time she was an adult living in London, she'd adopted a pretty westernized style. Jeans, blazers, short hair, nothing that particularly screamed Pakistani to anyone who didn't know her. She spoke perfect English with a slight British accent from her years abroad, and her Urdu was flawless, though she rarely had reason to use it outside of family gatherings. In the mid-80s, she and two of her friends from work, Helen and Margaret, both white British women, decided to take a trip to India. They wanted to see the Taj Mahal, explore Delhi, buy some textiles, the whole tourist experience. My mother was excited to visit the subcontinent again, even if it was India and not Pakistan. The countries might have their political tensions, but the culture, the food, the languages, they were all familiar to her. They spent about a week traveling around, hitting all the major sites. Toward the end of the trip, they were in Delhi, and my mother decided she wanted to buy some Bollywood movies to take back to London. VHS tapes were the thing back then, and she knew her relatives would love getting some recent films they couldn't easily find in the UK. They found a video store in one of the busier shopping districts, the kind of place that had rows and rows of Hindi films stacked on shelves, their colorful covers promising drama and romance and action. The store was run by this middle-aged guy named Rajesh, based on what my mother heard later. He was behind the counter, and there was a younger employee, maybe early 20s, named Amit, who seemed to do most of the actual work. My mother browsed for a while and picked out 3 movies. She brought them to the counter and asked Rajesh, in English, if she could get master print copies. Master prints were the high-quality versions, the ones that were clear and had good sound. They cost more, but they were worth it if you actually wanted to enjoy the movie. Rajesh smiled at her and said of course, no problem. He quoted her a price that seemed reasonable for master prints. Then he turned to Amit and started speaking in Hindi, clearly assuming none of the 3 foreign women would understand him. He told Amit to go to the back and get the regular prints, the cheap ones, the ones they usually sold for half the price. He said to bring those out instead, that these foreign women wouldn't know the difference, and they could charge them for master prints while giving them garbage quality. He laughed while he said it, like it was the easiest scam in the world. Helen and Margaret were looking at some movie posters on the wall, completely oblivious. My mother just stood there at the counter, keeping her face neutral, waiting to see what would happen. Amit came back from the storage room carrying the 3 VHS tapes. He set them on the counter, and Rajesh started to ring them up, still smiling his customer service smile at my mother. She picked up one of the tapes, examined it for a moment, then looked directly at Amit. In perfectly fluent Hindi, she said, "Actually, I asked for the master print. Would you mind going back and getting that for me instead?" The reaction was immediate and spectacular. Amit's face went completely white, like every drop of blood had just evacuated his body. He stood there frozen, holding the edge of the counter like he might fall over. Rajesh stopped mid-motion, his hand hovering over the cash register, his mouth slightly open. My mother continued in Hindi, her tone still perfectly polite and pleasant. She said she understood mistakes happen, but she'd really appreciate getting what she'd actually paid for. She smiled at them warmly, like she was discussing the weather. Amit practically ran to the back room. Rajesh started apologizing in this rush of Hindi and English mixed together, saying there had been a misunderstanding, that his employee was new, that of course she would get the master prints, the best quality they had. He was sweating, actually visibly sweating, and kept wiping his forehead with his hand. Amit came back with 3 different tapes, the actual master prints this time. He set them on the counter carefully, like they were made of glass, and mumbled an apology. My mother thanked him in Hindi, paid, and walked out with Helen and Margaret, who still had no idea what had just happened. She told them the story once they were back at the hotel and they couldn't stop laughing. Helen said she wished she'd understood what was going on in real time, that she would have paid money to see those guys' faces. My mother just shrugged and said it was a useful reminder that people shouldn't assume anything about who understands what.